Imagine waking up tomorrow, but it's not tomorrow. It's 1937. You're not you. You are Ivan Petrov. 32 years old. A factory worker in Stalingrad. You have a wife. A daughter. And a government that watches every single breath you take. You didn't choose this life. But you have to survive it. And the only question that matters, is how long can you last before someone reports you? Let's set the scene. The year is 1937. Stalin has been in power for over a decade. And the Soviet Union, on paper, sounds like a paradise. Everyone works. Everyone contributes. Everyone is equal. But you know better. Because you live here. In a 2-room apartment in Stalingrad, with your wife Natasha and your 5-year-old daughter Masha. 3 families share the bathroom down the hall. The walls are so thin you can hear your neighbor breathe. Every morning at 5:30 a.m., the factory alarm pulls you from your sleep. You eat black bread and watery soup. You kiss your daughter on the forehead, so softly, so carefully, like she might break. And then you go to work. Not because you want to. Because if you don't, questions get asked. At the factory, you press metal parts. 10 hours a day. 6 days a week. Your quota must be met. If it isn't, you're not just a lazy worker. You're an enemy of the state. And enemies of the state, they disappear. Here's what nobody tells you about living in the Soviet Union. It's not the soldiers that scare you most. It's your neighbors. The walls in your building are thin. Every conversation is a calculation. Every laugh is a risk. Last week, old Mr. Volkov, the kind man who always smelled of tobacco and gave Masha a piece of hard candy on Sundays, made a quiet joke about the bread ration. He laughed. His wife laughed. You smiled. 3 days later, Mr. Volkov was gone. No trial. No explanation. Just gone. And everyone pretended they had never known him. That is the Soviet Union, Ivan. A country where children are rewarded for reporting their own parents. Where a wrong word whispered at midnight can mean Siberia by morning. At the factory, Stalin's portrait watches you from every wall. You look at it the way you're supposed to, with reverence. With gratitude. With love. Because someone is always watching your face. And your face must say, I believe. I am loyal. I am happy. Even when every part of you is screaming. It happens on a Tuesday. 2 a.m. You hear it first in your sleep, a sound so universally feared across the Soviet Union that even small children learn to dread it. Knock. 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 Your eyes open instantly. But tonight it is not your door. It's the door across the hall. Your neighbor Dmitri. A quiet engineer. A gentle man. A good father. He's been your neighbor for 3 years. You press your back against the cold wall. Natasha finds your hand in the dark and grips it so hard her knuckles go white. Masha is asleep in the next room. You pray, she doesn't wake up. Through the thin plaster wall, you hear Dmitri's voice. I have done nothing. I swear to you. I have done nothing. Then silence. Then boots on the stairs. Then nothing. By morning, Dmitri's name is never spoken again. His apartment door stands slightly open. Empty. That's how it works here, Ivan. People don't disappear. They simply never existed. 3 weeks after Dmitri's disappearance, something happens that will test everything you are. During the lunch break, a coworker named Alexei, a man you've pressed metal beside for 4 years, a man whose children you've met, whose wife you've nodded to at the market, leans in close across the table. He looks left. He looks right. And then, very quietly, he says, Ivan. Have you noticed? The bread portions are getting smaller. But Stalin's portrait is getting bigger. He laughs. Just barely. Just a breath. And then he looks at you. And in that moment, in that exact, impossible moment, you face one of the most dangerous decisions of your life. You have 3 choices. You can laugh with him, and risk being seen by anyone nearby. You can stay silent, and seem suspicious to everyone, including Alexei. Or you can report him. Right now. Walk to the supervisor's office before anyone else does, and save yourself. Here is the brutal truth about Soviet life, Ivan. Silence is guilt. And loyalty, even performed loyalty, is survival. The clock is ticking. Alexei is still looking at you. What do? You don't report him. You can't. You've sat at Alexei's kitchen table. You've seen his daughter's drawings on the wall. You know his wife's name. But you don't laugh either. You look away. You pick up your bread. You go back to your machine. And you spend the rest of that shift wondering if you just signed your own death warrant. That night at home, you cannot eat. Natasha puts food in front of you and watches you stare at it. She doesn't ask what happened. She has learned not to ask. That is what this system does to you. It doesn't only control your words. It controls your silences. Day 1 passes. Then day 2. Then 3. Alexei arrives at the factory each morning as if nothing happened. Nobody comes for him. Nobody comes for you. Maybe nobody heard. Maybe someone heard and also said nothing. Maybe silence has its own strange protection sometimes. You breathe again. But just barely. Because here is what living under Stalin teaches you, Ivan: safety is always temporary. The terror doesn't leave. It just waits. And then, on a cold Friday morning, your supervisor calls your name across the factory floor. Petrov. My office. Now. Your hands go cold. Your heart stops. Your hands go cold. You sit down across from your supervisor, and you think, this is it. Someone saw. Someone heard. Someone talked. But your supervisor doesn't accuse you. He slides a piece of paper across the desk. You look down. It's a promotion. Assistant floor manager. More rations. Slightly larger living quarters for your family. You should feel relief. But then he says it. He says, with this position, Petrov, comes responsibility. We need to know what happens on this floor. Every conversation. Every complaint. Every whisper. You understand, of course. And there it is. The Soviet Union's most elegant trap. They didn't send you to Siberia. They made you part of the machine. They gave you a reason, a family to protect, a daughter to feed, to become exactly the thing you have spent every day fearing. This is how totalitarianism truly survives, Ivan. Not just through monsters in uniforms. But through ordinary people. People who just want to make it home. People exactly like you. Your hand is shaking as you pick up the pen. You sign your name. And somewhere, quietly, something shifts inside you. You don't know yet what it is. But you will. Months pass. You do your job. You watch. You listen. You report what you absolutely must report and nothing more. You find the smallest possible version of betrayal and you live inside it. Alexei is eventually transferred to another factory. The day he leaves, you make brief eye contact across the floor. He looks away first. You never find out why he transferred. You never ask. Masha turns 6. You bring home an extra piece of sugar candy from the ration store, a small gift, carefully saved. She runs to you and wraps her arms around your neck, and she says, "Papa, why do you always look so tired?" And you smile. And you say, "Because I love you so much, I forget to sleep." The Great Purge of 1937 and 1938 will execute an estimated 750,000 Soviet citizens. It will send over 1 million more to the gulags, brutal labor camps in Siberia where survival rates were barely above zero. Ivan Petrov, you survived. But survival in a totalitarian state is never clean. You carried something with you from that supervisor's office. Not a wound anyone could see. A weight. The weight of what you didn't do. The weight of what you almost became. The weight of living inside a world where the most dangerous weapon wasn't a rifle or a prison cell. It was a system, brilliant and terrible, designed to make ordinary people afraid of each other. Millions of real people lived exactly this life. Not in history books. Not in black and white photographs. In real apartments. In real kitchens. With real children asleep in the next room. The Soviet Union lasted 69 years. For most of that time, fear was the currency. Silence was the price of safety. And being ordinary, completely, quietly ordinary, was the most dangerous thing you could be. So the next time you feel watched, or judged, or afraid to speak your mind, remember Ivan. Remember what it actually cost to simply exist. If this video made you think, even for 1 second, subscribe. Because every week, we put you inside history's most extreme moments. We make you feel what it was like to be there. See you in the next one.